What up, everybody? You're now tuned into the true definition of a sports fanatic. I'm your host, Brandon Lampley, back today with another live stream. And you hear that instrument of the day, man. Get money. Get money. Oh, yeah. Get money. And that's exactly what Colorado did. Man, Shedeur Sanders, his NIL worth went up like $3 million after that game, man. You talking about getting money. He had the money sign on his sweatband. I say, man, first class all the way. But, hey, we're going to talk some Jags versus Colts. Hey, last night was, I loved every minute of that game. The Detroit Lions are, they good. They're good. You can't take anything away from them. I don't want to hear anything about Chris Jones. I don't want to hear anything about Travis Kelce. I don't want to hear about none of that. You line up, you play against who's there. So I don't want to hear none of that. So it is what it is. We're going to talk about these NIL deals and how some of these kids are getting preyed on. But me and Mr. Reed have already talked about that. We talked about how that was a possibility. We're going to talk about it a little more. But once again, of course, I got my co-host with me, Mr. John Reed. How are you feeling today, sir?
I'm doing good with that Biggest Smalls and
Yeah,
I'm doing good, man. It's football season. We done waited for months since that game against the Jags lost to Kansas City.
Yeah.
And it's been a long ride. It's been a good ride. I say that. I think there's been more optimism. I have to go back to that going into that 218C, but we don't want to go back to that. But I think for the first time, though, that the optimism is warranted. And I'm looking forward to seeing what these guys do when everything on the line. So it's football season. And I'm a Deion fan. I don't care who mad about it or what. I worked in Fort Myers. I know what the man went through down there in Fort Myers. So always been a fan of Deion. So hate me or love me. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Yeah, it don't matter, man. It really doesn't matter, man. It really doesn't matter. But we're going to kick off the show. We got to talk about last night. And I tell you, I like what I saw from the Detroit Lions last night. I think they're a good team. I think defensively, they're better. They're better defensively than I thought. Offensively, I knew they could, move the ball, but defensively, they are better than I thought. I know how. I've already answered my question, but Chauncey Gardner-Johnson is a excellent safety. Excellent safety. There's no question about him. He's a excellent safety and corner. He's played corner too. He's an excellent DB because he can play it all. He kind of rubs guys the wrong way, even his teammates and coaches. He's a talker. He does a lot of trash talk. He has one of the greatest moments when, New Orleans dominated Brady in the games that they played against Brady, well, majority of them anyway. And you got that play where he gets in Brady's face and he's just like, yeah, and what, Brady? What's going on? Who are you? The GOAT? Nah, more like the chump right now, all in Brady's face. But, man, everywhere he's gone, he's produced, and between him, was that Cameron Sutton they picked up. Shoot, even Aiden Hutchinson looked good last night. A lot of people, of course, the Trayvon Walker brigade, are out. We should have drafted Hutchinson. Why can't we draft Aiden Hutchinson? Blah, blah, blah. Let up off of Trayvon. We said it. He's a project. It's going to, you're going to take a little bit more time to develop. Aiden Hutchinson was more polished. So, you expect those things. But overall, from what I saw from Detroit, I liked the Chiefs. You got to go get some receivers, man. I understand, you want the bargain hunt for wide receivers, but you have no receivers at this point. You got some young guys who may develop into something, but at this current moment, I'm looking at not many receivers. And your number one option, because people saying, well, you need a number one guy. They do have a number one guy. The number one guy doesn't have to play receiver. Their number one guy is Travis Kelce. And without Travis Kelce, I didn't think that it would be that bad. Of course, you had Kadarius Toney, the Gator, who, bricks for hands. He couldn't catch a cold. He had a bunch of drops where he put it on the money, and they could not get anything going, nothing consistent, nothing sustained. And it's not the Chiefs that you're used to seeing. So I wonder, is this a trend? I doubt it's a trend. But even with Kelsey coming back, can that be rectified from what we saw last night?
Well, they got to get Kelsey back. I mean, let's be real about it. And you can't build your offense around Kadarius Toney. I mean, you look at his past. I mean, a player lives with his past. He's been injured a lot, inconsistent. I think a lot of the inconsistency, he's just not been available enough. And I think he's got some mechanics he's got to work on, man. He's fast, and he a breakaway threat, if you want to say that. But you got to catch the football when it hits in your hands, man. You can't have balls bouncing off you like that. And I don't care if it was week 1, week 3, week 4. I don't care what week it is. It's detrimental and will hurt a football team. And that's been his. I remember some Giants games. He had the same issue. So I don't know if it don't look like it's been rectified to me, but it ain't. I'll say this, man. I mean, I think that, and I agree with every word that you said. I think the Detroit Lions is a team similar to the Jags. They've been kicked around. They've been talked about badly. They've been on the wrong end of the stick. I like their football coach. He's a little out there, but I like anybody who gets you motivated to play. And I think that's one of the things about the NFL. You got talent, but you need something. Everybody got talent. You got to have something to boost you over the edge. And you got a football coach. I mean, everybody's seen him on HBO. He's eccentric. He's like a football coach and a player at the same time. And I think in all sports, you need motivation. I love the way these guys came out, put it on the line, and they to be honest, they whipped the Chiefs up front. I mean, you really want to know how they won the game? They were out physically. They out physical the Chiefs up front. Yes. And we will add that, and I will agree with you that the Chiefs, if they're going to go back to the Super Bowl, then they're going to have to have some remarkable improvement at wide receiver, because I was not impressed, like the nation wasn't impressed, when you should not. I don't care, like I said before, I don't care if it's week 1, week 4, week 5. If you're an NFL player, you do not let the ball hit off your hands, and you do not look and run before you catch. So, and the bottom line is, Detroit, to me, they look better prepared. They look more physical. They look as a better team. And I'm not going to sit here and say, put an asterisk, but in front of the victory, because the Chiefs didn't have their main tight end, their top player. Man, hey, you put them on, you put the suit on, you put the helmets on, and you go to battle on that day. If that other team ain't ready, you don't worry about it. It ain't nobody's fault but theirs. So the Lions look good, and I think the Lions gonna win the NFC North. I make that prediction.
I don't think they're gonna face much resistance, because, I mean, you got the unknown with the Packers and Jordan Love. Who knows? It's a good roster, but who knows what you're going to get out of Jordan Love? I'm not buying the Bears just yet. I'm sorry. I'm not buying the Justin Fields hype. I'm not buying it just yet. I got to see it. Sorry. It's not sorry. It is what it is. And then Minnesota is Minnesota. Kirk Cousins, just get him in prime time, and you know what the deal is. He's like 0-27 in primetime games or something like that. So, it is what it is. Harrison, what's going on? Say bold. But Travis Kelce is not going to fix that passing in what you saw. I mean, it's a nice collection of guys, but Travis Kelce is not going to fix that. Now, the Chiefs defense looks like it's going to be fairly decent. It looks like it's going to be good. It looks like it's going to be probably one of their better defenses they had on this 5-6 year run that they're currently on. Even without Chris Jones last night, I mean, you held them to 14 points. So I mean, I'll take that any day of the week. Any day of the week, I'll take them holding them to 14 points. And you had where on special teams where, man, Dan Campbell, you got to like Dan. Dan Campbell requested a live lion to be on the sidelines. Like, you got to love it. You got to like this guy, man. I don't see how you do not like Dan Campbell. You know,
man, he's old school, man. He's old school, man. You go back to the Green Bay and Chicago games of the 70s and 60s, and the guys breathing out of the helmet when you can see the smoke coming out of the helmet, man. Yeah. He reminds me of one of them old school guys, man. The Dick Buckuses and
the and what let you know. Yeah, what let you know he's old school is they said that he told his players, he said 2 of the most hallowed places in all of football, the football God shine down on, is Lambeau Field and Arrowhead Stadium. And those are the last 2 games they played, was in Lambeau and then last night in Arrowhead. So that's old school for you if it don't get no more old school than that.
Yeah, well, I would love for the league, and I don't want to go with the new school. I ain't up for that, but I would love for the league to get a little bit back of that tradition when you had the Conrad Doblers. I mean, I remember Conrad Dobler used to bite guys. The old St. Louis Cardinal guard was menacing, and you look at even the Tom Landry's, even though he wore a suit and that Fidelity hat, the cat hat, man, I love Detroit reminds me of a team who done took so many hits. They remind me of the Jaguars, but they're a little nastier than the Jags. And don't get me wrong when I say that, but I mean, you look at a team, I can recall almost every Thanksgiving Day where those guys come on national television and just embarrassed and just stunk it up and embarrassed themselves. If you was a Detroit Lions fan, your turkey and dressing just didn't taste right. And I'm that type of guy, man. I don't never want to see a franchise just terrible for 30 years. I mean, I don't know. I like to see a team, I can go back to the Bucs when I grew up as a kid. They were horrible. Took Doug Williams there to get Doug to change things around. But, man, it was just absolutely horrible. The Saints the same way. And it's good for a franchise who's been down so long, been kicked in the gut. And I'm almost like pinching myself. Detroit, opening night, Thursday night, national television, the only game on TV. And they go out and beat the defending Super Bowl champs. Can you believe that?
Right. Hey, and to give you, and for those who don't know the history of the Detroit Lions, I'm going to give you this is a cartoon snippet of the jokes that were always made about the Detroit Lions, especially on Thanksgiving, and them always playing on Thanksgiving and stinking up the joint. So it's real short. Look at this Family Guy right here. I never forget this because this was hilarious to me.
Oh, crap. Easy there. Hey, it's Thanksgiving. Shouldn't you be in Detroit losing a football game right now?
Yo, Brian said, it's Thanksgiving. Shouldn't you be in Detroit right now losing the football game? Like, I mean, the jokes write themselves, man, but that's the history. And as a Jaguar fan, I understand.
We can relate.
We can relate. So, but man, I love the game. I loved everything about it last night. Patrick Mahomes just looked dejected. I mean, guys not, catching the football. I mean, he did. That's the first, I think one of the few times I've seen him look have almost a look of defeat, because the little bit of shoulder slump and the look on his face, because he's lost before, but last night he was very, very frustrated. Only other time I kind of seen him look like that was in the Super Bowl against Tampa Bay, where they couldn't get anything going. But even then, he didn't look quite like he looked last night. So, hey, we'll see how it goes from here. But that was a excellent game to kick off the NFL football season.
And let me say one more thing, Brent. Jawan Taylor. This has been the big debate all day today. He's lines up. He did a little bit with the Jags.
Yeah, he did.
I mean, just the fact that the referees, I don't know if it's love for Kansas City or what, but he jumped offside. I would say 85 to 90% of the game, and he lined up wrong. I mean, you cannot line up when you off the line of scrimmage. That's supposed to be a flag thrown. Because you're not, but
and then the announcers called it out. Every time you could tell when they were going pass or when they were going run, depending on how Jawan lined up.
Yep. And I'll be honest, I hold that for. I don't want to never judge a man on one game, because I criticize him probably more than any other player during that 21 season, and he had a remarkable season last year. But I don't know, man. Man, he didn't look particularly well. He didn't look efficient to me. But it is what it is. He had a tough matchup, and we're not going to dwell on bygones or bygones. He decided to leave the Jags and go to Kansas City. He took the money, but I think he's got to really upgrade his level of play, because even though, Patrick didn't get sacked and all that, but he was pressured.
Up the middle.
Yeah.
That pressure up the middle.
Yep.
Yes.
So.
Yeah.
And the thing about it, we come full circle. Our attention is on the Colts. But next week.
What up?
Guess who's coming to town?
Oh yeah. Hungry for a win.
Yeah,
hungry for a win.
Coming to town.
And let's say Kelsey does play. They said they put Kelsey in the pool and he had no power on that knee. He's going to have power in 8 days. Yeah. I don't think so. I can't see him having much power on the next 8 days. So he's not going to be 100% if he steps on the field. Chris Jones and that money problem. I mean, even if they sign him this weekend, is he in football shape?
I don't think that's going to happen. I think for the money that he wants Aaron Donaldson type money. I think they have to go 0-2 or 0-3 before they seriously bulge, give in to the money that he wants. So they might have to go 0-2 at least heading into week 3 before they bulge on giving him that type of contract that he wants. So I don't some people said, well, they could do it this weekend or they could do it early Monday or Tuesday, which would, if they sign him, he'd be ready to play next week against Jags. But I don't think that's happening, man. I think they have to drop 0-2 before they give in.
Yeah. So let me get some of these comments. What's up, Jackie? She said, but they wasn't giving the call. They robbed Detroit. Yeah, the way they explained it, the officials on the broadcast said that his head needs to be breaking the waistline of the center, and it wasn't. It wasn't. That he could line up far back, but his helmet needs to be breaking the waistline of the center, and it wasn't. And he was jumping before the snap every single time. False start every single time.
Let me say this about Jackie. Jackie from Philadelphia.
Yes, she had a question about Philadelphia. Look, this is a question about
James Harden. James Harden, man, is a cancer.
Yeah.
Did you hear the story about James Harden this week, Brandon?
No, I have not heard it
These
about
boys
James Harden.
played in Miami, and James Harden was allowed by management to book his own flight to Miami a day ahead of the game. Doc Rivers didn't like it. Embiid didn't like it. Well, nobody liked it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the biggest problem with James Harden. He get privileges not afforded to any other players, and it causes friction on the team.
Yes.
Which it happened in Houston.
Yep.
I don't know too much about Brooklyn. Brooklyn had a whole lot of friction, but that friction was alive and well and with the 76ers this past season, with this guy being granted all kind of special privileges, which is ludicrous.
Yeah, absolutely. What up, Cano Local Sports? What's going on? It's been a minute, man. It's been a long time, man. Got to catch up. Carson, what's going on, Carson? He said, "What are the odds they sign him before the Jags?" Hey, what Mr. Reed said. I don't think the odds are great. I don't think it's happening. I think they'll probably be without Kelsey and without Chris Jones and come week 2. I think the odds of them being without both is great.
And even if they get Kelsey, he won't be 100%. So he
won't be 100%.
Yep.
Yeah, he won't be 100%. So Jackie said, quick question: what do y'all think of the Philadelphia Eagles' chances of going back to the Super Bowl? I think they have a great chance to do so. Do I think they'll do it? I mean, if they stay healthy.
Watch out for them Detroit Lions.
Yeah. If they stay healthy, and then you still got San Francisco to contend with. Like, San Francisco is going for the gusto. They have to, because next year they got to pay everybody. Like, they paying so much money next year. Like, I was looking at the cap hits for their top 10 players, and it's ridiculous. And the least paid player on the team is the quarterback, and Brock Purdy. Like, he making like $934,000 or something. Well, you got Nick Bosa just signed for the richest deal for a defensive end. Christian McCaffrey is a top 5 money-making back. Trent Williams is top 2. Brandon Ayuk, I think Deebo Samuel is like top 5. Ayuk is in the top 10. So, I mean, you got to pay a lot of guys. So San Francisco they're going for it. And hey, we've criticized them last week because we talked about how they squandered their opportunities at quarterback and with Trey Lance. Like, how do you do that with Trey Lance? I'm not understanding. So, but let's get the rest of these comments, so we're gonna move on to the Jags. He said, I can see the storylines now. Kansas City starts the season off 0-2. Hey, I can smell it, Marcus. Oh yeah, that is entirely possible.
In there, because if that team come out in Jacksonville, they will not beat the Jaguars if they play the same way they did last night. That's my prediction.
Yes, absolutely. He said, Jackie said exactly, and he got to go, and the Eagles are going to win the Super Bowl. Shout out to my cousin John. Congrats on your award, big guy. Oh, what? You got an award? Oh,
yeah, man. Even though Gene Fournette didn't know what that award was. Let me say this right quick, man. Whenever you can be recognized by your own people, that is a tremendous accomplishment, especially when you consider it's Jacksonville. So I'm honored. The Ken Knight Award, Ken Knight was a radio guy who came from Atlanta down to Jacksonville. And when I was a kid, I remember the radio station was WERD. He used to be WERD in Atlanta. He took those call letters and brought that station down to Jacksonville. And before we really had FM radio, I'm telling on how old I am, but back in the day in Jacksonville, the best radio stations in the 70s was WOBS and WERD in the 70s, early 70s. We didn't have FM radio. But I will say this, those stations, man, you knew everything about our community through those radio stations. And another thing is, man, you used to have Come Together Day in Jacksonville, and it'd be more than 10, 12,000 people used to be at those Come Together Days. It wasn't no violence, no shootings, no 100 cops standing at every waiting moment for something to break off. But that's the Jacksonville I remember in the 80s and the late 70s when I used to tag along with my older sister and brother. So to get honored for a guy that meant so much from Atlanta to Jacksonville, being recognized for stories, when my last year at the Times Union, I just didn't do Jaguar. I had told them I wanted to do more like community outreach stuff and community-based stories and to write stories about the food deserts and Newtown. If people don't know where Newtown is, that's over in that Edward Waters area. And then I look back and be full circle. And that shooting that happened at that Dollar General, when those folks have to go to Dollar General to get their groceries. I mean, I feel honored and humble and a whole lot more.
Yeah.
So,
and congratulations, man.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Yeah, man, that's what's up. That is what is up. Let's see. Carson say, I hope neither are in the game, but even so, I think the Jags are a better team than the Lions. But that season opener proved to me the Lions are a better team than I was think, even though I had them winning. Yeah, they are better than a lot of people thought. I knew they were going to be at least 500 at least, but this may be a double-digit win team. Like it's what it is. That's what they look like. And then Jahmyr Gibbs, Montgomery got all the carries, but Jahmyr Gibbs in his little bit of time, he averaged 6 yards a carry. And when he got the corner, that boy's gonna be going to the house. Montgomery is not going to get 21 carries every game over Jahmyr Gibbs. Now, one of the issues that Jahmyr has right now, and it's I think something that plagues young backs, especially young talented backs, and people are like, well, why they not on the field and why they can get on the field? It's one reason: pass protection. David Montgomery is a better pass blocker, than Jahmyr Gibbs at this point. So that's one of the reasons why. But as Jahmyr grows and he tote the rock, they ain't gonna have no choice but to put him in the game and get him the ball. It is what it is. They say Marcus say that's the win for San Francisco 49ers with that quarterback having that type of deal. Yeah, it is. I don't think he's going to be able to demand the type of contract that these other quarterbacks are getting. Hey, I'll tell you this though, Marcus, he can't right now. But if Brock Purdy, he's already going to the NFC Championship game. Brock Purdy goes to the Super Bowl this year and somehow wins it. Oh, you better believe you got the back the Brinks truck up. I really don't care what they think about it, because if they don't pay him, somebody else will. If Daniel Jones got $40 million a year, Brock Purdy can get the truck backed up to his house too. I'm just saying, man.
But he's got to shine this year, though.
He has to. Let's see. Harrison say Steelers. Oh no, the Steelers. Yeah, he said, "Who you think in conference championships?" I'm gonna go Jags, Bengals, and in the NFC.
Yeah, man, you leaving out who gonna win the East? Who's gonna win that AFC East?
Well, he said conference championship games. So the AFC and NFC conference championship games. Yeah, conference championships. So I'm going Jags, Bengals to go to the Super Bowl, and we'll go. You know what? I'll go. I'll go 49ers, Lions, to go to the Super Bowl. And I can see the 49ers, because the 49ers are still good, man. They're still good. That's still one of the best rosters in all of football.
Man, it's too early to make that prediction.
No, it is, but just something to throw out there. But it could go either way, man. Especially on the AFC side. I mean, you still don't know what Baltimore is going to look quite like. I just know they're going back to the playoffs. So you don't know what Baltimore is going to look like. You don't know what the Jets are going to look like. The Bills, I don't know. The Bills have been so disappointing the last couple of years. Yeah. So I don't know. But Jakari say, of course, Harrison say Steelers. Jakari say Eagles, Seahawks, Jags, Chiefs. That's not bad.
Yeah, that's I think you got to put the Eagles in recognition there.
Yeah. I was gonna go 49ers, Eagles again, but I don't see that happening. Those two. So one of those two will definitely get back to the NFC Championship game. If it ain't the 49ers, it could definitely be the Eagles, because they still loaded. We talking about loaded.
So you don't rule the Chiefs out, huh?
Hey, she say, what you Brandon did, bump your head, you just left the Eagles out. I just gave the Eagles some love. And she's like, and Buffalo looks good. Yeah, Buffalo looked good until it really counts.
Yeah, until second round of the playoffs.
Yeah, and then you got Stephon Diggs staring at him on the sideline, him with the poop face, and Stephon like, yo, bro, what's up? I thought you was that guy. Oh, obviously you're not. All right.
All right, batters. I say this: don't put your money on Buffalo. They too combustible, man. They got too much going on. Too much stuff going on. The leading pass rusher out.
Yeah.
Stephon Diggs,
at least 4 weeks.
Yeah, 4 weeks. Diggs, man, he might just explode. Where they play Monday night against the Jets. He don't get some passes thrown to him. He gonna go off on the quarterback.
He may.
Hey, we don't talk about the Cowboys on this show. We don't discuss that team on this show. There's too many people love them.
Yeah, they get too much pub. Too much pub.
They get too much pub when they're not even worthy of publicity. And they got an owner. Have you ever heard of an owner after the games has his own news conference?
Right. Yeah. So he said that's America's team, and Jack is getting the
mamas, don't let your sons be running backs, and don't let your sons be Cowboy fans.
Yeah. He said, Dak, do you think Dak's showing up this year? I mean, the Cowboys I can see them. They're double-digit win team. They can win 10 games. But anything beyond that, I don't know. Because Dak Prescott, he had an opportunity. He had a golden opportunity to quiet a lot of his doubters, haters, detractors, whatever. And when I tell you he shat the bed, I mean, he laid an egg. So it's what it is, man. It's what it is. So, but yeah, let's get. Oh yeah, we 30 minutes already in. So let's get into these Jags versus Colts.
Jaguars. Lord, I thought I wrote some notes on this. Well, let's go with the bad first. Let me throw this out here. Do you realize that the Jaguars have not won in Indianapolis since 2017? Mm-hmm. And do you realize that the Colts have lost 9 consecutive openers, including last year? So something got to give, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, something has to give. Yeah,
this is my prediction.
Go ahead.
I think the Jags is going to romp against the Colts. I think they're going to make them look silly. I think the Jags might put up, let me just throw a number out there. I think the Jags going to score at least 30.
Yeah.
And they ain't going to give up more than, I say, a touchdown and a field goal or 2 field goals or something. I don't think they're going to give up more than 1 touchdown, man. I think the Colts are in over their head, man. And I think the quarterback, bless his soul, anybody on here love the Gators. But I think he's going to be over his head. I think they're going to come up with so many blitz packages that they're not going to be able to deal with that.
Yeah. I would agree with that. I think that I wish they hadn't done this to him so early. I mean, I get it to a certain extent because, you put, certain guys out there and it has been beneficial to them. Like putting Trevor out there day one was very beneficial. Putting Andrew Luck out there day one, beneficial. Putting Peyton Manning out there day one, beneficial. But a guy like Anthony Richardson, I don't know because he hasn't thrown the ball that much. He hasn't played that many games that much. He hasn't tasted much success at all. He didn't taste much success in high school or college. So I don't know. And the show Jags AM, I watched that and they were talking to, I think, the Colts beat writer. He talked about it. He say Anthony would make a wild play and then the next ball would be in the dirt. So he's highly inconsistent. And I don't. All they have to contain. Jacksonville have to contain. Yeah, you got to contain him. Do not let him get on the edges. Keep him in the pocket as best you can, and I think you win this game pretty handily. You're without Jonathan Taylor. Their offensive line for the Colts has they've gotten worse over the last 2 years, and they were one of the best lines like 2021, 2020, 2021. We talking about one of the best lines in the league. You had maybe the best overall lineman in the entire league in Quentin Nelson, and everybody on the line took a hit. And then defensively, I think Calvin Ridley might have a ridiculous day.
Yeah.
And the only way he doesn't is if they commit more eyes to him. If they commit to double cover, say, hey, we can't let this guy beat us. Then if he don't beat them to sleep, Zay Jones will. Because Zay Jones is going to beat anybody they line up against in one-on-one. I mean, that's just what it's going to be. And then we already know what Christian Kirk is going to do in the slot and what Evan Ingram is going to do. So if Calvin doesn't go off, one of those other three are going to have a really good day or two.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I just don't think they can match up with the Jags from a perspective of matching their scoring. And I think you look at a guy like this is what they're going to say on Sunday. I mean, he's a great athletic talent, Anthony Richardson. He can make plays, but I think he's going to try too hard to make plays. And when you try too hard, trying to make a play, that the equal sign of that is he's going to make mistakes that leads to turnovers. And I think you're going to have a big turnover day. I think they're going to get a lot of sacks. I think they're going to get a lot of forced turnovers. I think they're going to score a whole lot of points. And I think this game, I don't want to spoil the party for the Jaguar fans, but man, this game will be in the bag by the early third quarter. I think they're going to put up a good lead early, and I think they're going to cruise. And hell, you might even see C.J. Beathard play fourth quarter. Man, we got to play Kansas City, man. The one thing about a good team, man, I say this about this league. The one thing about a good team, when you play a team that we know, and let's be, it's hard to say the Colts are rebuilding, the Colts ain't legit, but they are. They're not. They're not up in that upper echelon. This ain't the Colts of the past, and I think that the Colts and Houston. I think who the Jags got to worry about in the AFC South obviously is the Titans, but I think this is 4 victories right here that they ain't got to work too hard to get. They're gonna get double wins against Houston and double wins against the Colts. Now next year the Colts will be better. But I just don't think they're in the league of the Jaguars. And, you starting a rookie quarterback, who knows? They probably be forced to put in Minshew at some point in the game Sunday. But you're talking about a veteran team who brings, Doug Peterson, great play caller, 21 of the 22 starters back. And I think this is a showcase opening day of showing that the Jags are ready to be that team to watch in the AFC.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's see what Jackie say. I want to get this comment. She said, "Do you guys think Russell Wilson should have retired, or is Denver going to make it?" Well, Denver is going to make it because I think you got the coach. I think you got the coach in Sean Payton, and now you have a new ownership group that they want to win. Like they didn't get the Denver Broncos to just coast. They want to win. So you got the ownership group, you have the coach. Now it's on Russell Wilson now. Now I like what Sean Payton said. He, people saying that, he kind of chastised them, but I mean, did he lie? He basically said, he's like, yo, stop kissing babies and working on Russell Inc. You're not running for office. He's like, Russell has to rededicate himself to football. That is obvious. That is obvious to me sitting here on this live in Jacksonville, Florida. I mean, it's what it is. So I'll give Russell a pass for last year, because Nathaniel Hackett was a disaster. That man drove the struggle bus for them last year. It's just what it is. So I give him a bit of a pass for last year. But if you can't make it now with this new ownership group, Sean Payton, a defense that looks very good, you got maybe one of the top corners in the league and Patrick Surtain on the other side. You got Jerry Jeudy. You got a couple good young backs. So, I mean, Denver is not devoid of talent. This is a talented team. So now it's on Russell. Now, if Russell can't get back to football, if Russell Inc. is more important, then yeah, he should retire.
Well, I'm going to say this. I don't think the Russell Wilson, Sean Payton marriage going to work.
Yeah.
I think Russell Wilson have lost his commitment to football. Nothing wrong being a family man. I'm a family man. But sometimes when you want to be a family man and you got to be a working man and you got a wife that is dominated Sierra, who's calling the shots, I think. And I don't think he's got the commitment anymore. I don't think he has the commitment to elevate himself back to the quarterback he was in Seattle. And father time is part of that problem too. But I just think, and it was nice for Sean Payton to say that because it needed to be said. Maybe not as a harsh way as he said it, but he said it, and it needed to be said. But I don't think that's going to – I really don't think that's going to change him. And I think – I mean, let's be real, man. When you've had as much success as Russell Wilson had, and you starting a new place and you're starting over, it's still something in the back of his mind saying, I've accomplished everything I wanted in this league. It is hard, man, to just turn the clock back and go back and find the edge that you had 10 years ago or whenever, and find that clock, deal with being the age he is. You got babies, you got a wife who, a lot of people don't understand when you get older, some things that you think was important is not important anymore. It's important to him. He's making $30-something million, but he didn't have to constantly tell himself 10 years ago, football is most important football. I think right now the guy got to say, he's got to list his priorities. And football may not be number one, not every day.
Yeah.
And he, hey, I don't know if that was a misnomer just because they had a terrible coach, that everything is going to change because Sean Payton has arrived in town and he's going to pull everything that we saw that Russell Wilson had in Seattle. He's going to pull all that out of him again in Denver. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's happening. I don't think that's going to happen.
Well, yeah. Well, they asked him, can Russell salvage his career? They asked Sean Payton, and Sean Payton gave a simple answer: if he wants to. That's the only way.
That's it. If he wants to.
Yeah.
And that's hard. I mean,
it's hard.
Hey, man, when you in that league, let's be real about some things. If you going to be all pro, let's just go to Patrick Mahomes. I mean, how many hours you think Patrick Mahomes go to the facility and watch film? It ain't just about going to practice at 1:00 and being done in 2 hours. It's a commitment. And the commitment, I don't think Russell Wilson has, or I'm not going to never say that the man don't have talent, but I don't think he has the commitment. I mean, how many kids he has? They got what? They just having one. I mean, he's not going to turn his back at this point of his life, and I don't expect him to, and he shouldn't. But he's not going to turn his back on family commitments ahead of that football team. He's not going to do it. He's not.
Yeah.
And he's got, and I don't know if that it's going to be a lot of clashing. And hopefully it don't. it'd be good fodder or whatever you want to call it, good news, good talking points. But I guarantee I make this prediction tonight. It's a lot going to be said this season that could escalate. Sean Payton is not going to bite his tongue. He's not going to respect. When you got a guy like Russell Wilson, if you really know what Russell Wilson, he's hard to get along with. He's hard to. Nobody's going to come up to him as a player and say, you should do it this way, or you should do it that way. And Sean Payton is not that type of coach. When Sean Payton says you're not doing what you're supposed to do, he's going to say it in the locker room, but he's also going to say it at the news conference. And he's not used to that. And that's going to happen a lot if they don't win.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and let's say I heard Russell be in the locker room listening to BB King's "The Thrill Is Gone." You're right, Uncle John. He very family driven. Yeah, So it is what it is, man. So Carson said, I don't think it should be a close game, and defense should look good against the Colts. So prediction for the game Sunday, and we're gonna move on. So what you got, Mr. Reed?
Well, I already predicted a blowout.
Yeah.
Put points on it. I just don't think they're going to have a lot. I don't think the Colts can limit the Jaguars' offense. I think, you look at Lawrence, you look at Ridley. I think those guys are going to have a big game. I think the running game going to set the course. So, long story short, I think the Jags going to put up about 37-17. They're going to put on them. It's not going to be close.
That's crazy. You said 37-17. My score, you know what the score I was going to give? 38-16. 38-16.
Well, we at the barbershop.
Yeah. Hey, and look what, this what Karsten posted right before you said yours, 35-14. Yeah, we right there. It's going to be, you know what? It's going to be, to me, it's going to be similar to the game in LA when they blew out the Chargers 38-10. It's going to be a game similar to that one.
Yeah, those guys going to shine, man. It's going, they're going to, I would say by fourth quarter, you probably won't even see Lawrence in the game for about the final 8 minutes of the game to get ready for Kansas City. A bigger test, strong, tougher test.
Yeah.
And I don't think that game going to be close. I mean, you can throw out all that, they done lost to 9, whatever it is up there and all that. Man, it's a new year, new team, new coach. All that bad streaks with Doug Marrone and other regimes in the past, all that's gone, man. We ain't got to worry about that. We ain't got to live in the past no more.
Yeah.
You ain't got to worry about that.
Yep. And let's say he got 31-10 Jags. I see you. And Jackie asked, will they make the spread 4 or 5 points? It's possible. That spread, that line, it can grow as the game gets closer and closer and closer. So, I mean, what is it, like 3.5 right now or something like that? They got it. Yeah. They could spread to 4 or 5.
3.5 right now, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
And it'll probably go up once they put I think the full injury list is supposed to come out. It should have been out this afternoon. So
yeah, and then I think Shaq Leonard, their linebacker, looks like he may not play. So yeah, and then you got that young secondary. She said, "Oh no, it's 4 points." She said, "No, it's 4 points." I know y'all don't have DraftKings down there. It's 4. Now we got DraftKings, but I don't be on DraftKings. But we got access to it. She said it's 4 points right now. Yeah, I think it'll grow. He said, "I can't believe KC still doesn't have a running game. Everything going through Mahomes. That's dangerous and very risky." Hey, well, you see what they? Well, I'm still baffled about them drafting Clyde Edwards-Helaire in the first round. Like I foresaw what it was. He's a very small back. He can't push piles. Like, they need a Marshawn Lynch type. You get you a Marshawn Lynch type, you don't have to have a slasher with speed. Give me 4 yards in a cloud of dust. You can take that. I'll take that. And somebody who can, who can pound the rock. But hey, it is what it is. They need receivers.
Well,
I mean,
make the trade and get Jonathan Taylor there then.
Shoot, go get Tampa Bay. Don't want to sign. Supposedly got they got it back and forth with Mike Evans right now. One of the most consistent receivers we've seen in a very long time. Go get him if he's unhappy in Tampa Bay. So hey, it is what it is. But we're gonna leave it right there. And we're going to move on to a little college football. And we got to talk about, it's been talked about, it's been the talk of the town. They play tomorrow at 12 against Nebraska. I will be tuned in as I'm probably working. But Colorado versus TCU. That Colorado TCU game, man, I watched every snap. And, I mean, that was one of the best college games I had seen in a while. And that's not to say, that's not hyperbole. That's not a prison of the moment. It was just a good game, regardless of the color of the jerseys that were on the field. The way the game went, 45-42, where you had a go-ahead touchdown with 4 minutes left in the game on a 4th down and 2, to win the game, and then a defensive stop. Oh, come on, dude! One of the best games I've seen in a while in college football. I think that Colorado showed me, and Deion Sanders showed, and it sends a message across the league, which, coaches knew, I'm sure players know, but I think the world knows. People outside of the college football purists know. The casual fan knows now. The transfer portal has changed the game. It's no longer the same. The transfer portal has now changed the game. That's why the Gator fans so salty right now. I see you, Gator Nation. I can see why you salty, because after they saw what Deion did in Colorado, they like, and Napier don't have no excuse. You got way better resources than Deion got at Colorado. Why he can't get it right? But hey, it is what it is. But the transfer portal has absolutely changed the game. And the only thing Colorado's missing, and people know this, the difference between the levels in football, whether it's Division 1, 2, or 3, the difference in the levels is the offensive and defensive lines. That's the difference. Because you got skill players on the lower levels. You can always go find you receivers and DBs and linebackers and running backs in Division 2 and Division 3. But offensive and defensive linemen come at a premium. And Colorado needs some D linemen because they DBs are excellent. They just need D linemen.
Well, let me say this, man. I've been following this team. There is a such thing as getting dogs on your team. That's what Deion went out and got. He got dogs. If there's one thing that reminds me of watching that team against TCU, they remind me, and I tweeted it, they remind me of the 87, 88 Hurricane teams because of the talent. They got talent, man. I always say, if you got a quarterback like Shadur and you got receivers that can get separation, Jimmy Horn, Travis Hunter, and you got that Edwards at that running back, that it don't take up. I mean, I've said this all the time. Football is a simple game. It's not complicated. That guy at University of Florida, he won't be successful there. You know why? Because it ain't about running, all this motions and all this stunts and all that. It ain't about all that. It's about getting the ball in the hands of your studs. If Deion Sanders don't know anything else, he knows that as a coach. Put the ball in the hands of your stars. That's what wins college football games. The guy who gets open and the guy who can run, get you some linemen that can get some blocks, but put the ball in your playmaker's hands. That's the difference in Colorado as opposed to some of these other teams. He went out, used that transfer, the portal or whatever you call, and went out and got players who can make plays. And That's what it takes. I mean, you're talking about a 1-11 team to now he's got what he calls dogs. They dogs. They want it. And nothing hurts to being a motivator. It ain't just about him wearing the gold jacket and all that. This guy can motivate players. That's what he does. He motivates. He makes them feel that you got something to prove. The whole motto for the whole year is we coming. I believe now. You know, when you say that every day, he's been consistent. Go on YouTube. All those videos on YouTube. He's been consistent since day one. And to go out there, beat Colorado, and I mean beat TCU, you know, and do it in a great way. I mean, you look at that game. I watched that game from start to finish. For a program who went 1-11, let's reiterate, they went 1-11 a year ago. To bring in what I think they brought in, I think it's, I want to say 86. That might be too high. How many transfers they brought in? But it's in there. It's above 60 players. And to go in, I think in the first half, TCU, I think, had 8 penalties in the first half, and Colorado had like 2, if they had that many. So to play mistake-free football and utilize what you have, the passing game, they look like they've been playing together for years. Yes. And then when I look at that Florida team, I mean, I know we live in Florida, so I'm gonna say it because there's a lot of closet Gator fans who don't want to admit they're Gator fans, but they are. and just to see the difference, it's 85 transfers, and it looked like those guys been playing together. And some people are never going to give Deion a time of day because they don't like him. They don't like what he's saying. He's a self-promoter. And some people don't like coaches with jury, don't like coaches that wear dark shades during press conferences. Some people just don't like Deion and let's be real about it. There's still people who don't like Deion from his Florida State days.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be real about it. Like they say, too hood-like, it just, people find fault with anything. And sometimes people find fault with stuff that they never can let go. But the guy knows how to assemble talent. He knows how to recognize talent. He knows how to put together a good staff. The guy that should get a lot of publicity for doing a great job at Colorado, they play tempo. They play. Yeah. That's why TCU didn't know what hit them, because there was a couple of times they were trying to get guys off the field because
they got them.
The snap count. They don't go in the huddle. Even if they go in the huddle, it's like one play, 2 play, baby. I mean, you look at the amount of plays that they run because everything is up tempo. Everything is tempo. And here come Big Nebraska. Mr. Rule, the guy that didn't find success in Carolina, the big old NFL guy coming in here, the NFL coach. He's already disrespected Colorado earlier this week, talking about he doesn't have to have a cameraman following him around to press conferences. You don't need no self-promotion. I wrote this quote down that Mr. Deion said today. He said, "Ain't nobody whipping us at the crib." Ain't nobody whipping us at the crib. Now, do you think that, let's see that, you think Nick Saban would say, "Ain't nobody whipping us at the crib"?
Right. And Matt Rule, why would you give him that?
Yeah. Man, it might get ugly there. The thing about TCU, the difference between Nebraska and TCU, Nebraska, they got the local quarterback from here. He's up there.
Yeah.
But they don't have speed. They ain't got no dogs in that defensive secondary. They ain't got a pass rush that's gonna make any dent to Sanders' son. And I don't, unless they triple team Travis Hunter, I don't think they got anybody who can cover him.
Yeah.
So I
they
think that
don't.
game might get ugly real quick. And as they said this week, because I follow those Colorado Buffalo, it's personal.
It's
when
absolutely
Deion said
personal.
it's personal, that might mean they might try to score 70. And they playing at home for the first time. It's gonna get ugly, but I will be watching.
Yeah, I will be tuned in. Let me get some of these comments, and then I'm gonna go in just a little bit before we move on and get on up out of here. He said, Jackie said, now stop talking about all them teams down in Florida. Penn State is going all the way, Brandon. The Nittany Lions are here to show up and show off. We'll see. We'll see what the Nittany Lions got. And they say Deion said he needed Big Mama's boys. That's linemen all day. That's the only weakness of that Colorado team is size. That's it. He said one of my coworkers said Deion can motivate the devil to put an AC in hell. Lord have mercy. Yeah. His most effective weapon is himself. He talks the talk, walks the walk, and has the credentials to back up everything he says. That's a powerful combination. It absolutely is a powerful combination. And if you notice, man, a lot of this is envy and jealousy. I mean, okay, yeah, he might rub you the wrong way because you don't like self-promoters. You want him to be more humble. A coach doesn't. We've never had a coach do this. Coaches don't carry themselves like this, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, that's what coaches don't do. This is Deion Sanders, who happens to be a coach. I mean, he's Deion. He's always going to be Deion. He's always been Deion. And people have always had an issue with people like Deion because you want those people to dumb themselves down. Hey, it ain't his fault that he can talk smack and then he's actually successful. Because if he wasn't successful, no one would care. That's the point people missing. If he was not successful, you would not care. You would not be writing think pieces. You wouldn't have anything to say about him. Danny Cannell wouldn't be tweeting stuff talking about how Florida State helped him out and made him. No, Florida State didn't give Deion Sanders an opportunity. Deion Sanders gave Florida State an opportunity, man, because he was already Deion before he got there. So come on with all of that, man. It's just, it's the hate. But back to the team, Shedeur Sanders, I watched him in high school. And when I saw Shedeur in one game, I think he was a junior in high school. And I watched one game, I forgot who they played. And I just watched him and watched his mechanics, his command of the huddle, the ball he throws, his accuracy, and his placement. And right then and there on that spot, I say Shedeur Sanders is an NFL quarterback. It's only a matter of time. The only thing stopping him from being in the NFL is time. And it's only a matter of time before he gets to the NFL because he is an NFL quarterback through and through. Watching him operate, and when I tell you, he put the ball in places that NFL quarterbacks are supposed to put the ball. Like if his receivers didn't get it, and there were some drops in that game, he would have had more. Travis Hunter dropped 2 deep ones. Jimmy Horn dropped the deep one too. If they catch those balls, he would have had even more yards. Okay, and not only that, Deion talks about Shedeur and how he said he's level. He's level. He's not too high, not too low. I mean, you could tell on the sideline, easy like Sunday morning. I mean, that's what Shedeur is. Now, the only gripe I have about Shedeur, and it's not that big of a deal. The only thing I got is when he's talking to his receivers or talking to linemen or talking to anybody, his body language. His body language, I want, just a little bit because I seen him here like raise his arms while they talking or whatever. You ain't even got to do that. Just say what you got to say. You ain't got to raise your arm. But that's something small, and I'm sure that's something that, the coaching, they'll tell him, say, hey, don't do this and don't do that, and he'll be fine. But outside of that, the boy's a Heisman candidate, and he's going to the league. Travis Hunter is a dog. Absolute dog. I haven't seen a guy dominate on both sides of the ball in the game in a very long time. The last time I saw that was in a high school game. Like, legit, they could not cover him on offense, and on defense, they picked on him on defense, and he beat them just about every time. Every time they threw the ball Travis Hunter away, he was in on the play or around the ball. That play on the goal line that you see in the background right there, that play is usually a layup for a offense, especially in college football. But Travis Hunter broke on it, and it wasn't a layup. That's how good this kid is. Hey, I'll tell you, he not practicing during the week. He can't practice during the week. You got to keep him off the field. Even Dion said it. Dion was like, I had to yell at him. He said, I had to get on him because he be trying to go out and practice. He said, no, you're not getting on the field until at least Wednesday. There's no need for you to practice. He played, 140 plays and looked like he was ready to play another 140 in the post-game interview. And last but not least, the freshman, Dylan Edwards. Man, 4 touchdowns. That boy got some wheels on him, dude. That 4th and 2, he looked at the DB. Yeah. He looked at the DB and looked like he looked at him and said, beep, beep, and kept going. Touchdown. I said, golly. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But you know something else, man. There's nothing wrong with a coach who keeps receipts. You know, as a former reporter, that's not a good thing. But I'll say this, man. There are some people out there in our great country of the United States who said that Dion had success with an HBCU school in the SWAC, and he wouldn't be able to transfer that to a Power 5. And Dion, during that press conference, he definitely addressed that issue. And as he said publicly, he always keeps his receipts, meaning that he knows who said what they said negative, and so forth. But man, those guys got a good football team, man. It ain't about, you know, who knows how far they're gonna go. You know, they got some big games ahead, but I don't, you know, I think the next 2 games, obviously Nebraska tomorrow. And I think next week they play Colorado State. So there's a good shot that they can be 3-0. And I think they play USC that following week. So,
yeah, they're September 30th.
September the 30th at the end of the month. But much love to those guys, man. You know, I mean, Colorado is a long ways from Florida. But, man, we can't forget, man, this guy's a Florida boy, man. He's born and raised in Florida.
Yeah.
And, you know, some haters out there, you know, I hate to hear when people think that, you know, you just, you know, I think a lot of people always talk about competition and can they transfer, you know, from the level they was at to the level they are now. And I remember how they performed last year at Jackson State. You know, I mean, Shadur looked this pretty much what he did at Jackson State that he looked against TCU. But, you know, the bigger games up ahead, you know, you don't ever want to write the story before it happens. So they got a lot of games ahead, a lot of big games ahead. But, man, it sure looked like that chapter going to be written pretty good because they got good players, man. And one more thing, man. You know, college football is about convincing a young man to come to your program. And, you know, I know they got all the money now, players getting NILs or whatever, but it still comes down to coaching, staff, or somebody on the staff convincing a young man to come to your program. And I don't know if there's anybody better at convincing young people or making them interested to like join the program like he's done for Colorado. Because let's think about it. What do you think in Colorado? Brothers don't like snow. I've been to Boulder, Colorado. There's not much in Boulder, Colorado. So it ain't like LA or Miami, Florida, or somewhere like that where you're convincing the kid to come play for your school. But, hey, man, I think it's a good thing going on in Colorado. I think they got a bunch of good players. And it's going to be exciting to see how far they go this season with the talent they got.
Yeah, it is. It is. It is going to be exciting to see how far they go with the current talent that they have. So I'm excited to see the rest of this season, this football season coming up with this NFL, college football. We got a lot of football ahead of us. I mean, I think but you're gonna have football until February. So hey, just sit back, buckle up, and just get ready, man. Get ready, get ready, get ready.
Do you got an Alabama shirt on?
Oh, you already know. Texas about to get this beat down, dog. Yeah, they talking that trash, man. Texas about to get this beat down.
Texas and Alabama.
I'm saying that, but I'm a little concerned though, because Texas is good. Quinn Ewers is good, man. They barely beat them last year, and that was with Bijan Robinson and those boys, man. So yeah, it's man, Milroe scares me. Jalen Milroe scares me. He's a great athlete, but man, he can't turn the ball over. He cannot turn the ball over against Texas, man. You can't do it.
Alabama have named their starting quarterback.
Yeah, Milroe. It's Milroe. Yeah, it's Jalen Milroe. So, but he can't turn the ball over, man. He can't turn the ball over. Jackie say he's talking about it's cold as hell, but he's also raising gentlemen, and I'm very proud of the young man he's raising. He's really showing them how to be men. Hats off. Yeah, and his oldest son led the team in tackles. Shiloh, the older son. He say that's taboo. Get that Alabama shirt off. That's taboo, bro. Have a great week. Go Birds. Oh yes, for sure. But we're gonna leave it right there. We're gonna get into this last one right here, so we can get on up out of here. And we're gonna talk about these NIL deals in college football. These guys making all this money, but when money is being passed around, the predators come out, man. Those who prey on these young men, they're out and about. And man, when I tell you, this is going to be concerning going forward. I'm sure teams and the schools know about things like this. I mean, if they didn't, I'm sure they sitting down with their guys before they sign these deals and telling them about these deals to look it over. I mean, they should have an attorney or somebody to look these things over, because I mean, what's going on with Javon Dexter, the former Florida Gator and current Bears D tackle? I mean, this is a cautionary tale. So it says the NIL contract the Chicago Bears rookie Javon Dexter signed with a speculative investment company while playing at the University of Florida in 2022 violated a state NIL law in place at the time. The Florida state legislator who sponsored the bill told ESPN on Tuesday. Dexter, a second-round draft pick, agreed to pay Big League Advance Fund 15% of his pre-tax NFL earnings for the next 25 years in exchange for a one-time payment of $436,485 in 2022. According to a copy of federal lawsuit filed in U.S. District Court in Gainesville, Florida on Friday, according to published reports, Dexter signed a 4-year, $6.72 million contract with the Bears on June 16th, meaning he will owe BLA about $1 million over the lifetime of the deal. Florida Rep. Chip LaMarca, who proposed the initial legislation in 2020 that allowed college athletes in Florida to profit off their name, image, and likeness, described Dexter's deal as a predatory loan. The deals were supposed to be that the athlete could participate in the free market, and when they graduate, whether they go on to play professionally or not, any future contracts are null and void, LaMarca said. In other words, we didn't want someone having access to someone's future without them having proper guidance and proper representation. The original Florida NIL law, Senate Bill 646, included the following provision. The duration of a contract for representation of an intercollegiate athlete or compensation for the use of an intercollegiate athlete's name, image, or likeness may not extend beyond her or his participation in an athletic program at a post-secondary educational institution. Obviously, we wanted to expose college athletes to the same free market the other college students had, but at the same time, we want to offer some protections, LaMarca said. We wanted to make sure that they didn't get taken advantage of, and this is exactly what we expect to be able to protect, but we also didn't want to see it happen. It looks like what happened with him was really nothing more than a predatory loan by an out-of-state LLC from Delaware. No agent involved, no compliance, no review of a contract, and all of that. So it's pretty scary to think that this can happen. He's done all the right things. He has succeeded. He's in the NFL, and he's got this hanging over his head. In February, a Florida state lawmaker pulled back many of the guardrails in an updated NIL bill, including the clause that prohibited NIL deals from extending into a student athlete's professional career. Dexter's attorney declined comment. Michael Schwimmer, BLA CLO and co-founder, didn't immediately reply to a request for comment from ESPN. Dexter's attorneys are asking the federal judge to void his agreement with BLA because it does not conform with the Florida's NIL law and the state's athlete agent statute. Specifically, his lawyers allege that the agreement did not include the specific language required under the agent statute. The company failed to notify Florida Athletic Director Scott Strickland of the deal, and BLA and its agents weren't licensed in Florida. According to the lawsuit, Scott McBrien, an authorized agent of BLA, sent a message to Dexter in May 2022 that said, "What's up, Javon? I'm a partner at a data analytics firm here in Washington, D.C. We have a six-figure financial NIL opportunity for you. Would love to discuss more. If you're interested, let me know what you think." The lawsuit alleged that BLA provided Dexter with an agreement on May 16, 2022. He signed the deal the next morning under the terms of the agreement, a copy of which was obtained by ESPN. BLA agreed to make Dexter a one-time payment of $436,000 and a $5,000 contribution to the charity of his choice. These were the two terms included in the agreement: an initial term that finished once Dexter's collegiate eligibility expired, an extended term that commenced when he left college. In exchange for the payment, Dexter granted BLA a perpetual, irrevocable, royalty-free, and worldwide license for the duration of the initial term to use the player's name, image, likeness, comments, biographical information, and or athletic reputation for the advertisement or publication of BLA, including social media posts, interviews, online content, press releases, and other media. They owned his whole life, right, is what you're telling me. Like, he can't go outside without their okay. That's what this sounds like. Say Dexter was required to make at least one social media post promoting BLA and its products, autograph as many as 100 items of BLA, make at least 2 appearances, and provide BLA with at least one VIP invitation to the NFL draft and draft-related events that he hosted. See, Section 5.1 of a BLA agreement spelled out what Dexter would owe BLA financially during the extended period of the deal. Professional football earnings means all of players' pre-tax earnings or remuneration paid to player by professional football league or team during the extended term of this agreement. Such as earnings shall include, without limitations, any wages, salary, including player team payments, bonuses, including deferred bonuses, payments made to the player by reason of player participation in any playoff games, all-star games, or other championship events, and other compensation whatsoever earned by the player in his services to professional football league or team of any kind related to or for a player participating in football activities and participating at events during the extended term of this agreement. In a questionnaire that was part of the agreement, Dexter initialed a section where he was asked if he agreed to give BLA 15% of his future professional football earnings. As an example of potential amounts that you may be required to pay Big League Advance under this agreement, if you make $100 million in professional football earnings over 25 years from the date you signed this agreement, you will be required to pay us $15 million as you earn that money, the questionnaire said. Under the terms of the deals, any disputes are settled by binding arbitration. All right, so they got a lot more of that, so I ain't gonna go too much more because we want to get up out of here. But I think you got the gist. Anybody listening, I'm sure you got the gist of what's going on. This, I knew it was bad from the initial, but reading through this, they own this boy's life, man. I mean, he can't wipe a boogie without their okay. I mean, dude, if he peed, they want to know what color it is. I mean, this is as predatory as it gets, man. It's unfortunate because he signed the deal the next day. Anybody could tell, anybody with any sense who's been around just a little bit of the block. You ain't even got to be around the whole block. You don't take the first deal that comes your way. You don't. You go out and see if you can get other deals, and then say, hey, well, you're gonna give me $436,000. They're gonna give me $536,000. I mean, it's as simple as that. But you have guys who don't have representation. Nobody's doing anything for them. They don't have good guidance. They're poor. They don't have a lot of money. Oh man, what happened? No, he'll be back. They poor. They don't have a lot of money, and now here come these companies offering him almost $500,000, and in fine print they say we want 15% of all of your future NFL earnings. What kind of deal is that? And you only gave me $500,000, and off his current contract alone, which is $6.72 million, he's going to have to pay $1 million to this company over the life of this contract. And they only gave him $500,000. And then, like they said, if he signs for $100 million, say he becomes a great defensive tackle, and he signs for $100 million a few years from now, he's going to have to pay them $15 million over the life of that contract. That's predatory. I mean, I'm sorry. It is what it is. But man, I hope I get my co-host back. Hopefully, but yeah, if I don't, it is what it is. I don't know what's going on with his stuff, but I mean, this is a cautionary tale for any of those guys who sign these NIL deals. Like when this all came up, people were talking about how bad it was for college football, and this is not particularly good for college football because now it's no longer an amateur league. This is a professional league because now they're getting paid and now they're making money. But the running joke is that they were always getting paid and they were always making money. They're just now able to do it out in the open and able to do commercials, like Caleb Williams, the USC quarterback, he's got to win these commercials. In the past, they couldn't do things like that, but now they can. But now that you've opened Pandora's box all the way up and you allow them to transfer whenever they want, now they're able to make money. Now the predators can swoop down and come in and take advantage of a guy's situation by offering him a bag of money while getting a lot on the back end. I mean, this is similar to what they do in the music industry with 360 deals. It's the same thing, so, I mean, it is what it is. I hope that they did violate some laws here in Florida. So I hope that, his representation and his lawyers can fight this and get him out of that deal. But man, if he should be the poster child of the predatory NIL deal loans. And hey, talk about it. Let these other guys know. If I'm the NCAA, I'm bringing him in and say, hey, we want you to tell all these guys before they sign these deals what goes on and what happens. I mean, it needs to be done. Let's see what Ness say. Talking about, wow, must have been something else going on for him to agree to such a lopsided deal. Had to, Ness. I mean, they talked about how they a lot of Hispanic players, especially, you coming over from Puerto Rico, you coming from Cuba, you coming from these islands, coming from Dominican Republic, you coming from Brazil, you coming from wherever, and they get predatory loans just like this. I mean, you coming off somewhere where you might not even been wearing shoes. You like what's your boy in what's that, the Longest Yard with Nelly ran out of his shoes in Longest Yard. He was out there running with no shoes on. You come from Puerto Rico playing baseball, you barely got shoes on your feet, and somebody offer you $500,000, and you don't. Are you thinking about the rest of the deal? No, you like, give me my $500,000. I'm gonna sign next to that dotted line, not knowing that these people own your life after that. You can't even promote yourself without their okay. And that's not okay.
Yeah, it's a lot to be desired, man. Where that's gonna head at, where it's gonna go at in, say, another 2-3 years from now.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see, and the NCAA is going to have to regulate, but they've been talking about it already, and how even Lane Kiffin was like, it's a cluster, it's a crap show, and they got to regulate some things because companies like that can't come in and do things like that. Now, the thing that might get Javon off is the laws that they broke as far as him being in Florida and them not having a license to be in Florida. So those things may get him off, but man, he's lucky. He's lucky if he gets off. Yeah. So, man, we're going to leave it right there. We're about to get on up out of here. But right before we go, there was a nice moment in college football this past weekend. If everybody remembers the tragedy at the Virginia campus where I think it was a former player opened fire on campus, and he shot a couple players and shot some students. And you had a player who was shot and he survived, named Mike Hollins. And Mike Hollins, he played Saturday, and it was a nice moment. So I got the video of him going out. So hold on, let me see if I can find it real quick. Let's see, where is it at? Oh, and I forgot, Mr. Reed. We're gonna save it for another day, but we got to go in on LaShawn McCoy, man. LaShawn McCoy has some of the worst takes I've ever heard in life, man. He said Justin Herbert is leagues better than Trevor Lawrence. I like, boy, you are smoking. What? Hey, he had a chance to prove that in the playoffs, and you saw what happened. Yeah. Come on, man.
Yeah, I don't understand that, man. Not based on facts, just throwing something out there. It's just, I don't know. And he said some crazy stuff last season on a couple of things.
Yeah.
On Trevor. Yeah, he's a little bit out there.
Yeah, he did. But this is Mike Hollins, man. Yeah, he is. This is Mike Hollins, man. I know this was an emotional moment for the young man. After that tragedy, to come all the way back and to be playing football again.
And look at this scene. Look at this moment right here. Mike Hollins chosen to carry the flag and lead his team out. UVA faces a massive challenge against Tennessee. However, a great win has already been had by the Hoos and that man. Victory of the resilience of the... And Mike, look at this scene. Look at this moment right here.
That is awesome, man. That is awesome. I know it wasn't dry in that locker room for that young man right there. Yeah. And man, for them to come back and be able to put together a football team and go out and play, that was a great moment. Great moment. So, we're about to get on up out of here. Any last words as far as the Jags?
Man, it's
Colorado on Saturday, Jags on Sunday.
Man, I've seen a lot of football in my days, man, but just something about this team makes me feel that they're going to have a special season, man. I think a lot of people feeling that here in Jacksonville, in the area. I mean, when you got a football team that can put points and make it look easy, man, you got something special. I think they got something special, especially with Ridley. Man, I know we talk about dogs. We've been talking about dogs a lot tonight, but, man, when you got it, you got it. And I think he's got it. I think that whole receiver group got it. And, man, we might see something we ain't seen in this town in a long, long time on execution, points, putting points on the board and just blowing teams out, which is excellent. I think they're going to blow out the Colts. That's just my prediction.
Yeah, I think so too. So, yeah, I think Jags are going to get it. Going to get that W. It's not going to be particularly close. And, I think they start the season off with a bang. Now, week 1 is weird. It is funny. I heard John Ozier talking about it and how it can be weird and, whatever. But I don't foresee this happening. I think they break the record for most points they've ever scored in Indianapolis, which was 27. To my surprise, found that out that they've only scored 27 points in Indy. And I think they've done it only twice. One time was last year in the loss. So I think they break that record.
But ain't this a good time, man? Football season is back, man. College football, high school football, the pros. Yeah. It's a good time of the year, man. Old September done roll around, and, man, we got Sundays of football, Jaguar style.
Yeah. So, yeah, for sure. Yeah, and that's LaShawn talking out the side of his neck. Yeah.
Go Noles. I tell you what, but we ain't talking about Florida State, man. Florida State look good. They beat the heck out of LSU in that second half, man. And they beat them in the trenches.
Yes, sir. Yeah, they did.
And the way Clemson looked the other night, boy, shoot, that might get ugly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it may.
The old Florida State look like they're back. I gotta go get a Florida State shirt. Next time we come on, man, I gotta wear my jersey, man. It's football season. I've been waiting for the season to start, and I want.
Oh yeah. Dale asked about it. Yeah. Dale asked about it. Yeah, I told Dale. I said I'm almost in. I'm gonna put it back on because I got it a size smaller than what I would usually wear because I knew I'm dropping this weight, so I got to be. I don't want it to be hanging off me like my other clothes hang off me now. So hey, I'm almost there though. I'm almost there, Dale. Almost there. But I appreciate everybody for tuning in. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. And give me a like, give me a comment, give me a share. It's free. It only takes a second. I appreciate it. Yeah, I appreciate everybody. Follow me on all my social medias. Follow Mr. Reed on Twitter. And we will be back with more videos, man. More live streams. But until next time, man, we'll talk to you guys later, man. Peace out, y'all.
Peace out. Enjoy your football, man. I know I will.
Yes, sir.
Hey,